Hello, and welcome everyone. If you're watching this, you missed week 5, day 1 of our Foundations of Technology class. Let's go ahead and get into it. We had a short graded warm-up today, so if you did not get a chance to do that, please do so. We have an overview of the history of technology, so what is the important kind of takeaway that we want to get to? We will get to that. And then there's a history group project that we're going to be starting the next class. Our objectives are that you can identify notable technologies from each era, and you can examine innovations through the lens of politics, economics, and social issues. And we'll look into that as well. Your warm-up is posted on MIME CPS. Let's take a look where. So if you are in MIME CPS Classroom, under Modules in week 5, you'll find a9.history.warmup. Please complete that assignment. It's very simple. You just read a short paragraph and answer a couple of questions about it, and it's worth 5 points to you. All right, let's keep going. So history of technology is our next unit. We are going to be focusing on this idea of evolutionary technology, so how multiple inventions can come together into an innovation, and how the more innovations you have, the more interesting ideas you can come up with, and the faster you can create new things. And we'll see that throughout history. So people are better able to understand the world around them when they explore how people of all times and places have used their unique skills to develop inventions and innovations. All right. According to a textbook that I borrowed some of these ideas from, the plow is the most important invention of all time. Now, I talked about soap. In my personal opinion, that's a really important one. But they make a really compelling argument here. They say that it all boils down to two things. Food security is number one, and the plow really helps you out with food security. Prior to the plow, 90% of your time was spent looking for food. Now, if you have the plow, you have more time to devote to other things, and that's when innovation occurs, when you have free time to consider other ideas. The second thing you need, in addition to food security, is a way to spread or propagate your information widely. So the printing press really helped with that. But now we didn't have to wait to let everyone know about this cool new idea they came up with. We could just spread our information widely via writing. So oftentimes you are slowly refining an idea to get to whatever it is we're going to. And we can take a look at an example here. So if you look at a telephone, we started with a telegraph, and we slowly, surely evolved all the way to a cell phone through the years, gradually improving that technology. Also, new and unique challenges come up as we do this. So fiber optic cables kept getting chewed on by sharks. That's not something you would have thought of prior to trying putting a fiber optic cable into the ocean. Now, the way we're going to study this is we're going to look at 4 aspects of each technology. So how does it affect society? Politics, what kind of policy do we need in order to manage that thing? How does it change the environment around us? And lastly, what kind of economic consequences are there? Are there groups that are winning or groups that are losing because of this particular technology? So let's give us an example here so we can kind of anticipate what we would want to do in our group project. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. So for an automobile, for instance, the social impacts are freedom of mobility, but there's an issue with long commuting times. If everyone has a car, now we're all sitting in traffic. There are lots of consumer regulations that make cars relatively safe, but also you have to sit at the DMV for a long time, so that's a negative. The environment, we have all kinds of pollution coming from cars, but we've come up with ways to mitigate that, and all sorts of really good initiatives put on by car industries to offset their climate change. Economic consequences include employment opportunities in the car sector. There's lots and lots of jobs there, but also as factories change and shut down, you have people who are unemployed who might only have skill sets to work in such an environment and have a tough time finding jobs. So there's always going to be positives and negatives in all of these, and these are just some examples. You can think of lots more. Now we're going to take a look at the history of technology as a whole. You don't need to know dates, but you should be able to tell me what times, or rather what order these ages come from in the rough time period, as well as the major contributions technology makes during each of these times. Now this slide is going, or this PowerPoint presentation I'm about to show you is going to be very Eurocentric. So that doesn't mean there aren't other innovations happening in other places of the world, but they don't quite line up to this particular model that I have here. So it would be interesting if in your presentation, when you guys do your group project, you could take a look at other regions in the world, possibly. All right, so let's start with the Paleolithic age, paleo coming from old and lithos meaning stone. Notice the time range is huge, 500,000 BC to 10,000. And this is an area where, or an era in time when not a whole lot is happening. We have dominated other species via our use of tools, and we are exploring, but we're not settling down yet. We just have very primitive stone tools. So the reason this region is such a vast amount of time is because we don't see a whole lot of innovation happening. There's little improvements here and there, but overall you just see stone tools throughout this time period. In the Mesolithic era, we still see stone tools, meso meaning middle, litho meaning stone, from 10,000 to 4,000 BC, but we're seeing a little bit more settling down. We're seeing the first domestication of animals, again, creating that food security, allowing you to have a more robust livelihood where you don't maybe spend as much time hunting and gathering, but do other things as well. You see leatherwork, fishing, and stone circles, which lead us into the final Stone Age, which is the Neolithic, Neo for new, from 4,000 to 2,300. Notice how each age is getting much, much shorter as we go forward. The reason for that is innovation is picking up. So we're able to create a whole lot new products and ideas and technologies based on what we had previously. The Paleolithic age was so vast because there wasn't a whole lot of innovating going on, so there wasn't much to distinguish one year from the other. All right, in the Neolithic age, we have a dependable year-round food supply, which allows us to have a more diverse labor force. So not everybody has to go out and look for food. You can have people doing other things, such as pottery or art. We have the advent of the spinning tools or wheel, stone plows and sickles, and improved agriculture as a result, as well as the pyramids that get developed during this time period. The Babylonians come up with an interesting number system that's base 60, and today we still tell time because of this using a base 60 number. And the Mesopotamians use clay tablets, so a way to propagate information, to document their irrigation systems. Next is the Bronze Age. The Bronze Age is from 2300 BC to 700 BC. This is where we see the advent of bronze as the main material that tools are made out of. It's much superior to stone. You can do a lot more with it. It holds different shapes that you might not be able to get stone to take. It also holds an edge much better. You see bronze jewelry, various tools, and weaponry. There's a lot more militant advances during this time. In the Iron Age, which is 700 BC to 450 CE, you see all of those bronze cultures get overtaken by a much superior weaponry made out of iron. So you see military dominance for cultures that can produce iron weapons. You see the iron plow, which again increases that food security that we've talked about, so important. And iron farming equipment and manuscripts as a way to propagate information are seen. In the Iron Age, we see the Greeks create crossbows and catapults, which are exciting new tools for conquest. And Roman engineers create aqueducts, which are very similar to our modern systems for getting water to our urban centers. Next are the Middle Ages, 450 to 1400s, which can be divided into early, high, and late. The most essential technologies to take away from this time period are the windmills and the printing press. You see feudalism in the High Middle Ages, and then late Middle Ages bring about famine, plague, and war. Again, we're talking about Europe here. We have improved harnesses, cast iron cannons, mechanical clocks, and the compass. Now, again, note that the compass is new to Europe, but it is not new to the world. The compass was originally invented in early China, all the way back in the Iron Age. So, different places develop different technologies at different times and make different use of them. So we see the Europeans really take advantage of the compass to sail really far and spread their culture and a lot of unfortunate things as well along with that throughout the world. All right, windmills provide mechanical labor, and we first see the use of the word engineer to stand in for designer or deviser. Next, we have the Renaissance. So this is a period from 1400 to about 1750. This is where we really try to explore the world. So there's all kinds of measuring going on, telescope, microscope, thermometer, looking to gain more information about our space and environment. From there, we see the Industrial Age from 1750s to the 1950s. This is where we have the Industrial Revolution, giving rise to urban centers. Things that we take for granted and are really mainstays of our current lives get developed here, such as electricity, the automobile, television, telephone, rockets, and all that jazz. Some important people to note are James Watt, Alessandro Volta, Peter von Muschenbroek, Henry Ford. So all kinds of individuals creating all sorts of things. Again, please note how much shorter this time period is than the previous. This is just 200 years. We could probably spend a lot more time talking about this time period from the point of view of technology than we could about, let's say, the Middle Ages, despite them being much longer. So technology accelerates rapidly, and the more food security you have and the more ways to spread it, the faster the acceleration. Lastly, we have the information age. We're in it right now. We have the integrated circuit, computers, nuclear power, digital camera. We've definitely come a long way in just the short 70 years we've seen since the 50s. So who knows? Soon we may be in a new age, whatever that might be. All right, so from here, you guys are going to take over and you're going to do a little bit of research yourself. We're going to be embarking on this history project that's posted on MindCPS. You're going to be working in groups of 2 to 5. You're going to pick a topic starting next class from one of these, and you're going to examine how society, economy, and politics are going to get affected by that particular invention during that particular era. So it should be really fun. I'm excited to see your presentations once we get into it. And that's all I have for you guys today. Please send me emails with any questions you might have.